Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. As you can tell, this episode picks up where the last episode left off. So, if you did not tune in to the last episode, letting go and unlearning, then I would go back and listen to that one and then come back so that way you are not confused or anything like that. So, yes, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Again, if you all have any questions or anything like that, you can leave them below or DM me, and I will either reply back or, depending on the question, I can make a follow-up episode. So, yeah, I hope you all enjoy, and thank you so much for tuning in, and yes, let's get right on into the episode. Also, please do not forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Of course, follow the show. It definitely helps. And again, I continue to get supported on this podcast, so it's been an amazing journey. So, yes, I can only say thank you to everyone that does tune in and who do come back time after time. Okay, timeline contrast. So, this is the last, well, it's not the last step, but it's step 3. Or, no, wait, sorry. Yes, it's step 3. Choose one thing from the new timeline that your current timeline does not do. So, the new timeline version of you. So, some examples, I guess, might probably would help. The new timeline version of you. Okay, one could wake up with intention, or maybe they wake up early. Maybe earlier than your current version of you does. Creates content confidently. Makes decisions quickly. Doesn't entertain low frequency connections. Sets boundaries. Treats creativity as a priority. So what you could do here is pick one of these that your current timeline doesn't currently do. Like, I know for a lot of people, it's waking up early. Or maybe waking up earlier than you normally do. Or maybe you make time for the gym, or you make time for movement, period. Something like that. So you pick one and start acting on it, but it really has to align with you. You're not just picking one that sounds great. You know what I mean? So you really truly have to maybe even write down your own list and maybe some goals even, and you'd be like, we're going to incorporate some movement, or we're going to incorporate the gym. So whichever one aligns with you and it feels right, do it. So small shifts create new neural pathways, new identity, and new timeline. Step 4, identity deactivation. So letting the old timeline die, letting it go. This is crucial. You cannot, what was that saying? If you're trying to move forward to a new timeline, you cannot be half in your old life and half in your new life. So that saying your new life is going to cost you your old life is so very true. And if you're finding it hard to do that, then guess what? You're not ready. You might mentally be really trying to talk yourself into being ready because your mind is ready, but your heart, you're emotionally not ready. And that's okay. It's very scary, like I said, like just because it's what you should do, and it's like this decision is truly the decision I have to make or I need to make, and it's coming from a place of this is okay to do. That's cool, but a lot of times people find it really hard to be emotionally from your heart be ready. So to shift timelines, you must relieve old self-talk, old habits, old identity labels, old expectations, old stories. This list could go on. All these lists could go on, seriously. But maybe ask yourself, who do I have to stop being to become this new version of me? This is where most people feel resistance because the brain fears identity death. Your brain, again, from psychology standpoint, wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you comfortable, and so you're going to talk yourself out of all of this. And let me tell you, just because I'm saying all these steps, some practical ways, giving a lot of information all at once, I get it. This is a lot of information. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, okay? So it's not easy. You might be in the middle of doing this and fail. That's okay. You can start over again. You can choose again. You can change something. Maybe something that didn't work before. Maybe it's not the right timing. That's why you really, really, really have to check in with yourself. Be real with yourself. Don't sit there and lie to yourself. Don't sit there and tell yourself what you want to hear. Be that version of you that's sitting down with yourself and getting real with yourself. And sometimes the truth hurts, right? So a little bit of, a lot of bit of self-love, but also a little bit of self-tough love, right? Not hurting yourself and belittling yourself. That's not what I'm talking about. But anyways, this is where the quantum jump begins. After your identity, basically dies, quote unquote, like your old identity, your old timeline starts dying and has died, this is where the quantum jump begins. And let me just tell you, like I said, I've experienced this because in 2024, I found out I'll share a little bit of sort of a personal story. How about that? In 2024, I found out that I was pregnant. Well, now I'm going to be marrying the person that I was dating. So at the time we were dating, everything was going great. Not really, we were just trying to see where things are going, and all that stuff. The guy that I was dating was living in a completely different and is living in a completely different city than me. So you had two people living in two different cities. Of course, my life was there, his life was here, but we were dating, figuring stuff out. And I think it was probably right around February of 2024. So we had been going out for, a little bit of time. Anyways, we found out we were pregnant. And so during my pregnancy, after the shock and awe, because that's some big news, we, really sat down and got real here. And, we basically kind of knew eventually we were probably going to sit down and talk about, okay, well, you're living in this city and you're living in this city. What are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, we kind of knew that was going to be something to talk about. But when you are pregnant, you really have to sit down and talk about it because, he didn't want me in a different city. Of course, we wanted to grow together and stuff like that. So definitely on the same page, which was perfect. But all of that to say, it led me to this place that I'm talking about today. So quantum jumping and what that means. I didn't know that that's what was happening until it happened and I experienced it. I feel like a lot of people experience a lot of different spiritual moments, spiritual things, and don't quite know that that's exactly what they're experiencing, So, anyways, like I said, I honestly knew that a big change was coming anyway, just because I don't know, you kind of look at your life and you're like, you know what? I've been working at the same place for almost 10 years. And sometimes, like, if it feels right, you're like, yeah, I'm going to keep on working here. And that's what I was doing, because it felt right along the way. And then I would really say 2023 really broke me. Not only because, what I was going through in my daily life, but, my work. Obviously, I loved what I was doing. And it's still something that I'm very interested in. It was security design at a security printing facility. Very, very interesting work. I, obviously was using my degree and stuff like that, so that was great. I mean, hello. And my plan was to just work there as long as I could, see where the ride took me. You know what I mean? Like, I was really just going with the flow because in the beginning I was like, yeah, I'm just going to get 5 years here and probably move on, because I wasn't expecting this place to be as interesting as it was. Anyways, I got pregnant and it led me to some hard decisions to make. I had been living in this city all my life, and I created what I thought was a life. And then I heard a song from, oh gosh, what's the band? 1,000 Below. I don't know if you are going to know who that is. But anyways, I heard a song from them right around all of this, all this stuff that's going on. And it talks about like creating a life that, you were living and it all felt right. And then that old you dies a little bit each year and leading up to this quantum jumping. And you look around and you're like, this life I built, this, I created, and I no longer align with it. It no longer resonates with me. And it really, truly feels emotionally uncomfortable. It all feels uncomfortable in the beginning, So, but if you're in a place of being uncomfortable and you're trying to comfort yourself, it's not going to work out. You can try to comfort yourself, but it's really not going to work out. You should really lean into being uncomfortable and really sitting with that with yourself. Because the only way through and the only way to deal with being uncomfortable is getting through it. That's the hard part. You can't suffocate it. You can't beat it down. You can't hide it, because all it's going to do is come back. You can't lie to yourself. So I really leaned into being uncomfortable and really sitting with myself. And while I was pregnant, let me just tell you, all of my pregnancy and even now, being a new mom, I have nothing but peace. It really, truly, even though I was uncomfortable and I knew my old life and my old self, my old timeline was dying, I really leaned into it and I was like, you know what? I needed a change anyway. I knew things were going to change eventually. I just didn't think I would be pregnant, to be honest. But unexpected moments and amazing moments. We have an amazing son together, and now we're getting married. Like, all of these changes happened, and not all at once, but it kind of feels that way, So, all of that to say, that is what quantum jumping is. Kind of really leaning into, okay, well, let's put our old timeline, our old self, we lived it out. Let's put it to rest. Let's move on to something different, because that's what life is truly about. It's about the unexpected moments. It's about the simple things and the little moments, but it's also about the unexpected moments. The moments and things that you come across that do change you, but they reinvent you. And especially if they're going to make you a better person, truly, lean into it. Don't resist it. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel scary. You're going to be questioning yourself. What am I doing? Is this the right decision? Because that's all the questions I was asking myself. This was truly scary. I literally uprooted my whole life that I created. I created that life in that city, but I uprooted it. I put it to rest, but I also had to uproot and reground in a different city. So that's not just, oh, well, a lot of people will hear this and be like, what are you talking about, quantum jumping? You made the decision to uproot your life and go live somewhere else. And yeah, that is what I did, but in all of it's not just making a decision. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very spiritual moment for me. Maybe not for everybody. Maybe not. This probably won't resonate with a lot of people. I think unless you go through what I'm talking about, you're going to understand it. You might not understand all of it, but you'll understand some of it. But for people who this has not happened to, I don't know if you'll be able to really wrap your mind around what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's keep going. Step 5, emotional alignment. So some frequency work here. So every timeline, like I said before, has a frequency. So what you're going to have to do is identify the top 3 emotions of your new timeline self. So pick some emotions here that your current timeline does not have. Some examples of that could be grounded, abundant, creative, confident, resilient, soft, intuitive. The list could go on. Seriously. Your job here is to practice these emotions daily. Not all of them, but just pick maybe one or two. You know, it doesn't have to be 3. If 3 is too much, just pick one. And even in micro doses. I actually encourage everyone listening to practice these emotions daily, but even in micro doses. So even if it's just a few seconds, a few minutes, whatever it is, because a few minutes of aligned frequency a day is more powerful than 8 hours of force. If you're finding that it's forceful, that you're having to practice these emotions a day, it's not going to work. If you're not aligned with it, so if you really don't truly feel that it resonates with you, it's not going to work. And so I think you get what I'm saying here. Step 6 is behavioral alignment. This is your anchoring. Spiritual alignment means nothing without action. And that's a big one here. So what you could do is ask yourself, what actions does the new timeline version of me take as a default? Then do one of those actions today. You can do all this stuff today. I know this is a lot of information. Apparently, I've been talking for a long time, which is scary. So I'm going to have to break this up so that way it's more digestible. But behavior tells your brain, this is who we are now. And your identity will follow that action. It's not the other way around. Step 7, environmental reinforcement. Your environment must support your timeline shift. So if your environment is going against your timeline shift, it is not going to work. So some examples could be cleaning your workspace, surround yourself with aligned content, even aligned people. If you no longer resonate with your best friend, I'm talking about these hard relationships here. It could literally be friends, family, co-workers, all of these people that you encounter frequently. It could unfortunately literally be people that you just, maybe you're hanging on to that relationship because, y'all have been friends for so long or whatever it is. I think you get what I'm saying. Distance yourself from low frequency conversations. Distance yourself from low frequency people, places, things, Reorganize your home. Remove things that represent that old version of you. And honestly, when you are naturally going through a quantum jump situation, you honestly do these things already. Like when you're moving, you're moving to a whole brand new house and stuff like that. You're like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. You really go through, or at least I did. And I naturally did that. You don't jump timelines while keeping the same environment that shaped the old version of you. That's a major one. Step 8. Integration and repetition. Quantum jumps feel sudden. A lot of times people don't know that that's what they're going through. But they are built through repeated, aligned internal and external choices. Daily repetition equals new neural pathways, new emotional patterns, new internal identity, new external reality. This is where timelines lock in. And I do believe that's where I'm going to end this one. If you have questions, comments, or anything like that, please leave all of your questions down below in the comment section. You can DM me on Instagram, my Facebook page. Do your own research on what we talked about in today's episode. And I really hope that this all makes sense. This is, I think, probably going to be the longest episode I've ever done. I hope that, whoever's listening to is going through, like, I hope it's exciting. I know for me it was very exciting, but also very scary, like I keep saying. But they say to do whatever scares you, right? So I'll leave with this. It's, I think, a powerful line. So, timelines don't change your life. You change your life. And the timeline responds. It all starts with you. We all have choices. We all make daily choices every day, whether you know it or not. So, with all that being said, I hope this episode inspires everyone to, maybe practice a few of these. I hope this episode offered not only information, but some tips, maybe some tricks. And I also hope that it offered a different point of view. So, like I said, with all that being said, if you think someone could benefit from hearing these things, please send it their way. Please share this episode. It truly helps the show. I'm not just saying that. And I just truly, the reason why I say that is because I truly think all the information and a lot of the topics that I talk about can truly help people in their daily life. And maybe you'll hear something in this episode and be like, oh my God, I went through that. Or, oh my God, I'm going through that. So hopefully it can help some people. So that's why I really say, sharing my episodes really helps. It doesn't just help me, it helps to get this information out. And to help people. So, yeah, again, thank you so much for all the support, for listening, for commenting, for sharing, for liking. It doesn't go unnoticed. And I hope you all are having an amazing week, an amazing year. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.